Mother told me she would not cook me dinner until I gave up my room to my brother and became a good son. So I printed out an eviction notice because that was my food in my house. I live with my parents in a very expensive city. We stay on a 3-bedroom high-rise. My mom recently decided she wanted to move to this city because she was tired of living in the country. I agreed to move with them because this city had many software engineering jobs. I was able to get a high-paying job and make 6 figures. My mom and dad are school teachers, and their combined income is just under what I make. My brother James and his wife Mary had originally stayed in our old state, but once she found out she was pregnant, my mom and dad invited them to move into our house. I work from home sometimes and pay 75% of the bills and mortgage, so the spare bedroom was my office. My brother and his wife showed up at my house, which I didn't know about, and demanded my room. My room has a walk-in closet and bathroom. I told them to take the office because it has an air mattress for guests. My parents told me to let them have my room. I reminded them how I pay most of the bills and I'll move out if they have my room. My mom yelled at me and told me I was a jerk, but my dad just told them to go to the spare room. I went into the office the next day but forgot my laptop, so during lunch, I came home and found my sister-in-law taking my stuff out of my room. Everyone else had left for work. I yelled at her and asked what the hell was she doing. She screamed back that my mom said to do this. I grabbed all the stuff that she moved, which wasn't a lot, and threw it on the floor and told her I would kick her and my brother out of her stuff is in my room when I got back from work. My brother and mom blew up my phone when I was at work. My dad started a group chat and said that there would be a family meeting when everyone got home. I stopped at the store to grab a knob with a lock for my door. My parents, sister-in-law, and brother sat on the couch when I got home. My brother tried to get in my face, but I'm taller and bigger than he is, so I just put my hand on his face and shoved him out of my way. I knew this infuriated him because he's older than me. My dad told me that I should just let them have the room. My sister-in-law smiled at me. I told them that I pay most of the bills and they are living under my room because my name is on the mortgage, and if they want the bigger room, they could either pay me rent or the 4 of them can move out. My dad tried to bargain with me, but I told him I was not talking about this anymore and that if I heard about it again, I would have everyone evicted. My son started crying, and I went to my room. My dad is treating me okay, but everyone else is giving me the silent treatment. I thought everything was okay, but I came home from dinner the next night. My mom made everyone but me a plate. She said she would not cook me dinner until I gave up my room and became a good son. My dad agreed with her. I pay for every grocery. I entered my room and printed eviction notices for my mom and dad. My brother and sister-in-law hadn't been there long enough to be considered squatters. I told my brother and sister they had an hour to pack and get out, or I'd call the police. I told my parents they had 30 days or I'd take legal action. All our extended family members live in different states and don't have the money to support 4 people in this city. My mom begged and tried giving me her plate, but I said it wasn't about the food. My parents put my brother and sister-in-law in a hotel room for the night, and my mom tried to apologize, but I ignored her and went to my room. I'm writing this now to see what I should do because I'm confused. Am I the a-hole? Update: I went to work, and my parents left before me, which was unusual, but my mom had texted me throughout the day with apologies. My mom might be narcissistic, but this is the first time she's acted like this. So, I was honestly hurt when it happened. But when I came home from work, my brother, sister-in-law, and my parents were sitting on the couch. My dad said they're sorry for the way they acted and thought because I'm usually the voice of reason that I was going to back down. My brother said the request seemed small, and because I have a perfect life, giving up one thing to accommodate him in his time of need is what family does. Side note, my brother has no debt, and my father is a veteran, so we were able to get free education somehow. But because my brother changed his major 5 times, he had to pay for 3 years of extra coursework that wasn't covered. My parents took on that burden and are still in debt. They also didn't sell or rent out the old house because my brother convinced them he would like to start a family there someday. So they have some debt because of it. But my brother does not need everything. My brother also told me that they should have a final say because it's our parents' condo. I explained to him that it was my condo and my name was on the mortgage, so they actually get no say in what goes around here. He was confused. He said I possibly couldn't afford this place on my salary. He said a person making $50,000 a year could not live this lifestyle. I explained to him that I make 3 times that much, and our parents can't afford to live here without me because of the mortgage back home and his student debt. James said that dad had taken care of the student loans and that the old house had already been paid off. I looked at my parents, wondering why they had lied to him. I explained that they were in a ton of debt because of him and refused to sell the house because of what he said. James asked our parents why they hadn't told him all of this. My mom burst into tears, telling James they knew he had been jealous of me since I was in high school. Mom knew that my playing varsity football during my freshman year of high school when he rode the bench as a senior which started his dislike, and me playing college level at a Big Ten school didn't help. We also graduated the same year. So James told mom that it wasn't fair that they got to do all those things. Mom and dad began babying him to compensate for this so he wouldn't hate me and the family could continue to be around each other without hatred. James just walked out the door without speaking another word. My sister-in-law apologized and said she didn't know it was my house. I asked her why that would change anything. She ignored my question and went to the guest room. My dad tried to explain that they felt like they failed my brother. I asked if was it just because of the football thing. He said it was because James wasn't given the same opportunities as me. I explained how James skipped school to drink and smoke and joined a gang. I asked if they thought we should have gotten the same opportunities. My dad said it was hard to explain. I told him what's easy to explain is the eviction notice and he has 30 days. So I left for my friend's house, and that's where I'm now. Update 2. My brother invited me out to have some drinks. I was hesitant to go at first, but I realized that it wouldn't hurt. When I saw him, he looked horrible, and I hated seeing him like that. The first thing he told me was sorry, and it seemed genuine. He then told me he was never jealous of me and was proud of all my accomplishments. He then dropped a huge bomb. During his senior year of high school, he had come home early and found mom was home, and so was our uncle's car. At the front door, he heard moans and decided to peek through the window and see our mom and uncle on the couch, cheating on both of their spouses. He took a video as evidence, ready to show dad, but he didn't want to break up our family. Instead of talking to anyone and getting help, he got into drugs to help him cope, but he explained that one day mom yelled at him while he was drunk in the middle of the day. So So he just showed her the video. He explained how her face got pale, and she broke down crying. She promised she had broken it off when our aunt had gotten pregnant a few months after the incident had occurred. She pleaded with him not to tell Dad. He said he wasn't, but that she better do everything to make it up to Dad. Mom started the jealous thing to hide her affair even though she knew she was the reason for the drugs and alcohol. He hadn't realized that she'd been overcompensating, afraid that he would tell Dad. After therapy and rehab, he had been concentrating on himself and failed to see how I was being treated. He also thought it was unfair that I didn't have to live with that heavy burden and thought Mom always babied me. So when I wouldn't give up the room, he thought it was Mom playing favorites. He almost broke down crying, saying how sorry he was and that he'd leave. I told him that wasn't necessary, and that as long as he and sister-in-law help out, he's welcome to stay as long as he wants. I asked if he was ever going to tell Dad. He said he wasn't but would hold no resentment towards me if I did tell. So now I'm conflicted with that. But other than that, everything seems normal. Update 3. I told my dad. He surprisingly took it well. I did it in private. He admitted that his brother told him that one time when he was drunk, but he thought he was trying to upset him. I know everybody was saying that my mom was a narcissist, but she never displayed these behaviors. She was a woman loved by everyone. He never suspected a thing. He was hurt though. He explained that he's been married for 30 years and would like for things to stay the same. I always thought Dad was kind of a pushover, so I highly doubt that he's going to confront her. I think he's comfortable with life the way it is. But my brother and sister-in-law have paid me for bills and rent, so we're okay. My mom has apologized, and it seems genuine. She became an outgoing, nice woman again, so my house is peace. I think this is going to be how it is from now on. I hope Dad is okay though.